Probably. However, when I checked it last night, it was
You were here? Juice. Oh, good. You did get them? Good. Yes.
All right. Why is stupid ringer? There we go. What's that? Okay, pretty ready? All set? Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Committee on Public Services. Good morning, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Kinlock,
Present.
Commissioner Clemente,
Here.
Commissioner Badun,
Here.
Commissioner Palomero,
Here.
Chairman Recchi.
Here,
You have a quorum present.
thank you. Next item.
B, Chairwoman's remarks.
Today we have an item under unfinished business, but we're gonna jump first to new business and take the remainder of the agenda there and then jump back up to unfinished business. Next item.
C, approval of the March 24th and April 9th, 2026 meeting minutes.
So moved.
Support. All right, we have an approval and support. Any questions, comments? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you. All right, Madam Clerk, next item.
Moving down to E, new business item 1, requesting commission approval of amendment 1 to a 3-year contract with a 2-year option to renew with Highfalutin Music LLC to continue to provide artistic and program direction for the Jazz on the River concert series or similar events.
Okay, someone here. Good morning. Want to turn on your mic and introduce yourself.
Hi, Erica Smith, Wayne County Parks Director. Today is amendment to extend the current contract for Highfalutin, who does the books the musical acts, including the stage and sound for Jazz on the River.
Okay. All right, any questions on this? When is Jazz on the River again?
August 1st and 2nd.
Okay. Any questions? All right, thank you for being here, and we'll take everything at the end here.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, next item, Madam Clerk.
Item 2, requesting commission approval of amendment 1 to a 3-year contract with the 1-year option to renew with Great Lakes Engineering Group, exercising the option to renew and extending the term due to the selection by MDOT Metro Regional Bridge Council, resulting in MDOT local agency program oversight, requiring additional services related to professional engineering design services for the Northville Road Bridge replacement over the Middle Rouge River in Northville Township.
Okay, someone here on this? Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. Ellen Ko, I'm the Assistant Division Director of Engineering.
Okay, so tell us about this.
Item number 2 pertains to the amendment number 1 for Great Lakes contract. We are asking for the approval to extend their contract from 2026 to 2029.
Okay. And this will be starting,
This construction is going to start tentatively in 2027.
okay, 2027?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so all the cones are still up there on that bridge part?
Yes.
All right, so the spring of 2027?
And that is the intent.
All right, we get a lot of questions on this, so we will send out a communication to that area. Any questions on this? All right, you're on the next item too, right?
That's correct, ma'am.
Okay, Madam Clerk?
Item 3, requesting commission approval of a 3-year professional services contract with the 1-year option to renew with AECom Great Lakes for construction engineering services for the rehabilitation, construction of Mack Avenue from Cook to North City Limit in the city of Grosse Pointe Woods.
Okay,
tell us about
this particular item is just a contract for AECom to perform engineering services for the rehabilitation, construction of Mack Avenue from Cook to North by the city limit. So basically, just a simple term, it's just a resurfacing project.
Okay, is this like a $4.25 million project?
That is my understanding.
Okay, so it's just resurfacing,
Yes. And we at the anticipated starting date for this is everything contracts get executed will be somewhere in August of this year.
Okay. All right. Any questions on this? Yep.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So Mac Avenue to Cook, how many miles is that? Or is it multiple lanes or the resurfacing?
I do believe this is about less than a mile.
Less than a mile, 4.2. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, Madam Clerk.
Item 4, requesting commission approval of Amendment 1 to a 3-year professional services contract with the 1-year option to renew with LGC Global to continue to provide as needed catch basin drain structure repairs on primary roads at various locations throughout the county.
Great. Someone here on this?
Good morning, Madam Chair,
Good morning.
Commissioners. Steve Shea, Division Director of Roads Maintenance. This particular contract is for catch basin repair. This is one of the ways we're trying to mitigate flooding. Some of these basins that have already collapsed, or so this contract pretty much get in there and make the necessary repairs.
So how many contracts do we have for the catch basin? Is it 2?
I think it's 2 contracts.
2
yes.
contracts?
Right,
I do
because-
like the Facebook little reel showing how they clean those out.
Yeah.
That's pretty informative. It looks like everybody's seen it on Facebook, so. Okay, so 2 contracts on that, so they'll be doing that all summer long.
all summer long.
All right,
It's just one way to put a dent in mitigating flooding.
okay, sounds good. Questions on this? All right, thanks, Steve.
I got the next one. too,
All right.
Commissioner.
Madam Clerk?
Item 5, requesting commission approval of Amendment 1 to a 4-year contract with the 1-year option to renew with Spicer Group to continue to provide as-needed routine, fracture critical, load rating, scoping, and detailed bridge inspection engineering services.
Okay,
So this pretty much is a contract. This it says, provides us with load rating in order to determine safety ratings on these bridges. And then the fracture critical is just pretty much steel bridge components that we want to make sure that the mechanism that are in tension, make sure that they're not collapsing or causing failures. So this is what this contractor does. They specialize in that.
so this is no change in the dollar amount. It's just an extension of time.
Exactly.
All right, great. Any questions on this? Okay,
Thank
thank you. Next item.
Item 6, requesting commission approval of Amendment 1 to a purchase order with Southern Folger Detention Equipment Company to purchase additional keys and locks for the criminal justice complex.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
R.D. Lap from the Senior Project Manager with Corporation Counsel. We're asking to amend it with an additional $145,000 to maintain and keep current all the current detention locks that are inside the CJC.
Okay,
And it'll go through 2027.
so this is an amendment.
Correct.
Okay. All right, any questions? Yep, go ahead.
Thank you, through the chair. One question. So after 2027, does this go back up for bid for local vendors who are in this space who do this work that are closer to us than Texas?
Unfortunately, this isn't for the work. This is just parts, and Southern Folgers detention locks are extremely detailed to where,
Specialized.
yeah, they're specialized.
Okay,
Only Southern Folgers, their locks, you can only get parts and everything from there. Our actual skilled trades do the actual work on it. This is just for the parts.
just for parts. Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item, Madam Clerk.
Do we want to move these items, these 6, before we move back to unfinished
Yeah,
business?
yeah, why don't we do that?
We need a motion and support for. item
Approval.
6.
Support.
Okay, any questions before we vote on this?
Just
Uh,
on the discussion, I'd just like to be the maker of the motion on item number 4.
Okay, and you know what? I'll do that at full board too.
That's what we, oh, yeah, bro, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. All right, Madam.
We need a vote.
Yeah, will you?
You wanna
call-
do a roll
call the
call vote?
roll? Yeah.
Commissioner Kenlock,
Yes.
Commissioner Clemente,
Yes.
Commissioner Baydoun,
Yes.
Commissioner Palomero,
Yes.
Chair Mareki.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. Next item.
Moving back to unfinished business, item 1, requesting commission approval of a retroactive 3-year professional services contract with 2 one-year options to renew with J&T Towing to provide two-way radio dispatch towing services for vehicles and heavy equipment on an as-needed basis for the Department of Public Services Equipment Division.
Hey, who is here for this? Good morning.
Good morning, Angelia Miller, Division Director of Equipment. This is a request for a 3-year towing contract for our equipment division to tow our vehicles as well as any heavy equipment.
You have another guest.
Through the chair, Aaron, sorry. Through the chair, Aaron Wagner, Procurement Director.
Okay. All right. Any other comments before we start asking questions? Okay. Commissioner Clemente.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I first want to say to everyone, thank you to my colleagues and to everyone for bringing this back to committee. My main purpose was about procedure. And that's what I think is very important, that there were questions that weren't answered. And we just need to do our due diligence on procedure with procurement. So my first question is something that was highlighted about invoices that are still out there, and that question was not answered. So if you can just go back to where we're at with the contract previous to this, and this is a new contract that was supposed to start February 1st. So from, I think December, January, there were some things being done. And if you could talk to us a little bit about that, please.
Yes, I'll take that question, Commissioner, through the chair. So the original contract did end in October 1 of 2025. It was brought to our attention there were several outstanding invoices that were still unpaid just due to the transition of JD Edwards to Oracle. With that being said, we brought it to this honorable body to get an amendment done to the contract just to pay those additional invoices. To my understanding, I am not a part of M&B, but to my understanding, majority of those invoices have been paid.
And that was with both contracting companies, or towing
Correct.
companies, excuse me. And so we have paid those invoices.
Again, I am not with M&B, but
Okay,
majority
okay,
of
so
the
that-
invoices,
so
to my
that-
understanding,
that
have
we
been paid. Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
Go ahead,
go ahead.
Aaron.
Through the chair, when I was in the system today, it did appear that one of the amendments it is still pending and is with commission approval right now. So, and the amount I believe is about $22,000 that's pending for that amendment.
Okay,
So that's the amendment from October to January. And we just have it now. I mean, I think our staff is just yesterday. So we
Yep.
just got this amendment from October to
Yep.
to January, and that was 22,000 to J&T. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, gouch.
Yeah, the amount, I'm sorry, $21,555.10.
And that was gouch.
Yes.
Go ahead, Carol.
thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. So the other thing that I have a question about is this new contract. Is it standard for companies to be able to offer discounts on their bids? Go ahead.
Through the chair, yes. In the solicitation documents under section 5.3, which is pricing and other pricing requirements, there is a section 5.3.2, which is entitled special incentives, which does allow for bidders to enter additional discounts over and above their pricing. This particular solicitation was an ITB. So in those instances, you go with the lowest bid. And once the bids are submitted, you don't negotiate the prices, unlike with a request for a proposal. And so in this instance, J&T had submitted a price with a percentage if they were to win all. And that's how we ended up making a decision.
Okay. Yeah.
Invitation to bid.
What is it again? I was going to ask you that.
Invitation to bid. And so in those instances, when you go out to bid, as long as all of the bidders are deemed responsible, then you go through, you look at the pricing and you go with the lowest bid. There is no negotiation. It's, you take a look at the bid tabulations and lowest price wins.
Okay, so, and that is in our procurement ordinance, so all vendors would be able to see that.
The invitation to bid, there is, in the ordinance, it does talk to invitation to bids, but it also, in the solicitation documents themselves, the pricing sheet that I referenced before, where it was 5.3 and 5.3.2, that was in the solicitation itself that was issued publicly.
Okay.
And that's standard language, like boilerplate language for all of our solicitations.
Okay, that, not knowing all the wording, that's what I wanted to know. So everybody has access to doing this when they put in the invitation to bid. Okay, one other question that I'm gonna yield, and maybe other commissioners. So we had two towing companies previous, and when you are part of the county, there is something where you get merit or something like that. Did Gosh and Sons ever apply for that in their solicitation for bid?
So yes, Gosh and Sons is certified through HRBI. However, at the time that their bid was submitted, that certification was not included in their proposal. And if you reference section 1.10 on the county-based enterprise and other advantage programs, there is language that says in bold and in italicized, must be certified by the Human Relations Division at the time of bid, which they were. However, and must submit a copy of their current certification in the bid. And that second piece is where there was the deficiency. And so they did not, in the evaluation or the bid tabulation, this time around, they did not gain the evaluation credits. And that's why.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And then, can I do one more? Yes. Can I apologize?
You can do as long.
Yes, but you have.
That's all me.
Exactly. Ignoring my face.
So then I guess my next question is, when we find out that maybe we don't get something, we could put in a protest, or was anything submitted about not getting the bid? And I don't know my language, but appeal, thank you. My friends are helping me over here.
No, so I reviewed both Robert Whittigan's email box as well as Arthur Walker's email box. Travis Grubb, who is the interim director as well. And I spoke with the buyers. And we have not been able to find any emailed version of a formal bid protest. We've gone through, the mailroom has no record of a letter being sent via US Post as well. And so from procurement's perspective, we have not received a formal bid protest.
Okay, I'm gonna yield and let others, because there were other questions from other commissioners.
Okay, Commissioner Baydoun.
Thank you, Chairwoman Miraki. Mr. Wagner, just to that last point about the time to appeal the decision or the winning bid. What's the time allowed after you have accepted a bid? I mean, is it like 1 week, 1 month,
I believe it's 10 business days.
10 business days? And you're saying you could not find any record
I-
that there was an appeal made
Uh,
from the other company?
worked with IT to go through and get access to those mailboxes, and we could not find anything, under search terms for the solicitation, for the terms bid protest, for either companies, I could not find a record.
So, a couple more questions. So in the past, you had two companies that were conducting the business on behalf of Wayne County. But this time around, you did receive 4 bids and you went with the lowest bid. And what other criteria did you look at in terms of qualifications, having the capabilities, if you will, the equipment? Does this company, J&T, do they have all the proper equipment to carry on this contract, if you will? And if they don't, what is there an escape clause? I mean, can we go back if they don't fulfill the obligation according to the contract?
Mhm.
What could be done? Do we go back and reopen it for the other company, Gosh and Sons, or any other companies to step in if J&T is not able to handle this contract?
So, first question is, were they deemed responsible? And so the DPS team had put together the minimum qualifications, which spelled out what type of trucks and what type of towing and the capabilities that they needed. They are, per the solicitation, responsible to show that they own these vehicles, that the vehicles are registered, that they're of the appropriate weights, and are able to tow the heavy machinery that is the need of DPS.
And I would like to add, we've been doing towing business with both vendors for the last 3 years. They both have done a phenomenal job. I do want to address that for the table. With that being said, I will feel 100% comfortable saying, just based off the lowest bids, the most responsive, that the vendor has shown us that they can continue with the volume of equipment that we have. They've been very responsive. And if we're strictly going off the bidding process, they were the lowest, the most responsive vendor.
Okay, so I'm sure you've done the due diligence. That's why we ask these questions, because we're not in that position in your department to be looking at their qualifications and so forth. And, we obviously depend on your guidance, and it's our job to ask the questions, and I'm okay with that explanation. Thank you.
And I have to follow up the second question you had, where if JT was not able to
Yes.
continue the services. It is normal practice of the county that in an ITB, if a supplier does not meet the needs, then you would award the business to the second most
Oh, the
responsive
second
vendor.
highest bidder? Okay.
That's correct.
Or the second lowest bidder, if you will.
The second most responsible, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Who was the second? I'm sorry, who was, got it. Okay.
You all set, Commissioner Baydun?
I'm all set, thank you.
Commissioner Kinlaw?
Yeah, so the way I see my role is that we establish an ordinance, and it's your job to basically execute that ordinance, that procurement ordinance. And so when you send a recommendation to our into the queue, our staff review it, making sure that those provisions within the procurement ordinance are followed, and that you have followed those procedures. So we try not to have too much of a room for discretion, so that the process will be clear and be spelled out. So those who respond to a solicitation know that this is an independent process that's in place and is going to be fair. So my question to you is, this ITB, I'm not even sure. I've been here 5 years. I'm not
too sure how many ITBs that that we've actually brought, that has been brought before us.
IFB, I'm sorry.
I-
Invitation for bid.
Oh, I
Yeah.
said, for bid, IFBs has actually come before us, but in particular, this type of solicitation for the towing services, how often have we, issued, invitations, IFBs? Was an IFB issued, the last time this solicitation went out?
Go ahead.
Yes, to my understanding, the IFB was sent out. I would also indicate that the vendor that is the lowest and most responsive now actually missed out on that initial bid because there was an item that they left blank because they were offering as a free service, but because they left it blank and the procurement process indicated that every box needed to have some form of response, they actually ended up being the second vendor from that previous bid.
So my question is, from that previous bid, you then brought forward or then created some sort of bifurcation where you had two towing contracts, towing contracts. What caused for that not to be determined? Someone said it was deemed something at the last meeting. So just wondering, so why wasn't it determined to do it in this instance?
So I could just speak on my time in the division. It was to my understanding that at one point in time, we did have one tow vendor. There was some issues with that tow vendor that put us in a situation where we were stuck. So the procurement director at that time decided that it would be best to go with two vendors. Because we have had experience over the last 3 years with both vendors, the services have been provided. Right. And we feel comfortable just solely going with one vendor. And I will say internally, it could be very challenging we operate 4 shops in-house just in our equipment division. So it could be very challenging managing out those contracts as well, where you could have one large piece of equipment like a motor grader, which could be a value of $275 for a tow. And then you have a carpool vehicle that is $75 for a tow. So you will find some vendors when you're balancing 2 contracts, doing more tows, making less money versus another vendor doing the larger tows and making more money. So internally, that could be a challenge for us to keep up. And it is our job to provide support to our roads division and not necessarily manage out contracts respectfully.
Okay, we have certain instances where the procurement ordinance mandates a pool or a list in certain situations, but that's a discussion for another day. So at this point, so you've said that the last one was a IFB. The last time it was solicited, it was an IFB. The protest, is there a boilerplate language on the solicitation documents or, as they go out, speaking to the process or the ability to issue an appeal or bid protest should you not be selected? So that language is on there, giving them some guidance as it relates to should they desire to submit a bid protest. So there's some boilerplate language in that package. Okay, so they were clear on all vendors, not speaking on any given one, would be clear on the bid process, timeline, and all of that when they get the solicitation documents.
Through the chair, yes, I can share exactly what documents for this solicitation went out. That way everyone can see what was posted on BidNet Direct.
So they had the ability to see in real time the bid protest process, and you have searched within all your available emails to see whether or not a protest or an appeal or any such challenge was submitted.
Correct. And again, Travis Grubb, who was the interim director just prior to me, went through his email box, could not find anything. I went through Arthur Walker's, who was, and Rob Whittigan, who was also another interim director. So I went through 3 email boxes as well as the procurement. We have like a general fund email. I couldn't find anything in any of those.
Okay, so prior to the board meeting, you submit that, would you submit that boilerplate language?
Mhm.
And then I'll find, that would be enough for me to be satisfied that proper notice was given associated with the bid process, protest, process where they could have, submitted an appeal in a timely fashion.
Sure.
Thank you.
Be through?
I'm done. Oh, yes, I'm done.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, yes, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Hold on one second, Commissioner. Just a couple questions from me, and then I'll go back around for anyone who has a question. So my question is, last contract, the contract was 600,000. Now it's 1 million. Why the big increase? And last time it was a straight 3-year contract. This time it's a 3-year contract with 2 1-year options to renew. So those 2 questions right now.
So through the chair, and to this honorable body, in regards to the price increase, we currently have one lowboy trailer that is a 1995. You guys understand our need to replace equipment. We have started a second paving crew this year, which require a lot of equipment to be towed out to the actual paving sites. This is on a as-needed basis only, but we will fly through that money within that term to support that second paving crew. So we're lowboying out pavers, rollers, any equipment to support our paving team. I will state that we have brought before this honorable body equipment to actually lowboy this equipment out. So that window will be very small. It is our hopes. We have a total of 4 new lowboy trailers that should be brought in within the next 4 or 5 months
Okay,
to assist with towing this towing this stuff out.
okay. And then the second part, that question about the 3-year contract. Now it's a 3-year with 2 1-years to renew. Options to renew.
Did you want to take that?
The, typically, our base contracts are 3 years, and then we do put the 2 options because we like to go back out to bid every 5 years. Certainly, those 2 option years do not preclude us, within the base term of the 3 years, we determine that we want to go out to bid earlier or sooner, we certainly can. Plus, there is also a termination for convenience that if we decide that at any point we do, want to discontinue this particular contract, I believe it's a 30-day termination, or is it a 90-day on this one? At any rate, the county has the right to go back out to bid.
Okay, but last contract, that same rationale wasn't thought of?
I wasn't enrolled at that point, so I can only speculate as to what the rationale was. And I think at the time, there was a different procurement director as well as a different individual in role running that towing piece of the business.
All right. All right. Commissioner Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Chair Mariki. I guess one of the dangers of going last is that everybody asks all the questions before you get a chance to actually ask yours.
Last, but that's okay.
But okay, well, towards the end, let's put not last, but towards the end. But anyway, I think I still got a few more because there's so many potholes here. Excuse the terminology, because I know we're in a public services hearing, but there's so many potholes that I saw when I read through the information that
Titanic.
no Titanic this time, brother. Okay, that's an inside joke. Sorry,
Right.
but there was so many issues that I looked through, and I determined that I had some serious questions. So number one, when we speak to a parent low bidder, now I think most of us as the legislators, we are sticklers for semantics and syntax and diction, where words have a specific meaning. And when you look at the language here, it says the cost will be. It says the vendor was chosen as the apparent low bidder. So when you say apparent, that doesn't say necessarily that vendor was the low vendor. So apparent low bidder is why JT was awarded the contract, allegedly. But in addition to that, I'm just going to read some language here from our notes from the proposal. It said it is unclear if the discounts, and I think Commissioner Kinlock alluded to this, It is unclear if the discounts offered by the contractor affected the decision to utilize one vendor instead of two vendors for the towing services. And then it says underlined, underscored, in bold, in red print, the contractor's proposal included a 10% discount if it was awarded the full contract. So in other words, I'm already the apparent low bidder, but I'm gonna give you another 10% if I'm the only person that you're gonna consider this contract for. And then in addition to that, I'm gonna give you another 3% if my invoice is paid within 30 days of submittal. So now not only am I the lowest, well, apparent lowest bidder, but now I give you another 13% discount on top of me being the apparent lowest bidder. So my question to you, sir, is that if I'm already the lowest bidder, or again, apparent low bidder underscore, why I got to give you more discounts? Why I got to give you 13% more if I'm already the lowest guy and you're going to pick me anyway? So to me, there's something that doesn't, I guess this reeks to me, be honest with you. And if the other individual companies, I think there were two other bids. I think Gosh and Sons were second, and I think they were behind by about 40,000 or 50,000. I think looking at my records here. And I think I heard Commissioner Kinlock say it specifically, because I'm hearing that nobody was aware. These other vendors weren't aware of this, of them having an opportunity to throw in 10%, throw in 3%, throw in 7%. What I'm understanding now, you said that was included in the language. I think Commissioner asked you to present that before the next full board meeting. I'm good with that, but I didn't see it anywhere. I mean, I'm looking through the information and it just sort of puzzles me, I guess. And so I know you're going to give me an answer, and I appreciate that. But at the end of the day, sir, we're all grown, and we know that this is a lucrative business. Towing. I think all we got to do is look back through the annals of time, and we'll see how a lot of folks got in trouble with towing companies. And I think we don't need to say any more beyond that. So that's why we are very, very serious when it comes down to looking at these type of bids. And then when all of the noise that's surrounding these type of bids starts to become really, really loud, it's our job to make sure that we double check. So I appreciate you, sir, and ma'am, I appreciate you as well. But just kind of help me out there, if you could, on why this individual already the lowest bidder, but I'm giving you another 13%.
So through the chair, Commissioner Wilson.
Yes, sir.
The 3% was part of the bid sheet, and so that was actually a line item that in the solicitation you'll see.
Okay.
Below.
If I missed it, I apologize.
No, I'm just walking through.
Sure.
The 10% references back to any additional incentives that were under that section 5.0, 5.3.2, that I'd referenced to earlier. So, in these instances, should this have been like a request for proposal and it had come in, we would have had the opportunity to go out and say, hey, to everybody else, if you were garnered all of the business, can you give us a 10% swing on top of it? Our solicitation documents do reserve the right to award in whole, in part, or to cancel the solicitation at any time at the county's discretion, whichever is in the best interest of the county. Certainly, this solicitation predated me coming back, so I'm kind of on the back end trying to do a postmortem as to what exactly happened. Going through the proposal documents, it doesn't appear to me on the face value that there was any nefarious offerings going on with this. I mean, I think to your point, aside from the 10% overall discount, J&T would have won this outright. They had the lowest bid for the pricing. This is market pricing, so we gave everyone a rubric to say, hey, based on X amount of tows, what can we expect to spend? So it's, the contract, again, it's based on use, so it's very difficult for us to get a fine dollar on what we're going to specifically need, but we try to make the best educated guess to, hey, given all of the different vehicles, the miles that we have, how many tows we may need. This is where, we've come with the most imperfect rubric to really quantify everyone and put them on an even playing field that everyone given the same input, what's the output? And so from that perspective and everything that I've gone through, at least, you know, since this was brought to my attention, I have not found anything in the solicitation that would allow me to have any pause on it. It looks like the process was the process.
Sure. And I thank you for that, sir. And I think Chair Maricki also alluded to the gap in the pricing. And that's something that stuck out in my mind. I'm sure it stuck out in everybody's mind, where you go from 2 at 600,000 to 1 at 1 million. It was a $400,000 difference, or a 65% markup for just one individual versus two. So I think the director here, Deputy, what's your name? I'm sorry. Angelia. Yes. I think you spoke to that about the low boys and the tall boys and fat boys and all that stuff. I appreciate that. But at the end of the day, I think I'm sort of clear on that gap, the $400,000. But okay, well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And
Thank you,
through the
Madam
chair, Commissioner Wilson, again, this is on an as-needed basis, right? So if we don't, up to $1 million, so if we don't need the services, which, like I said, it is our hopes to have this additional towing equipment in within the next 4 to 5 months. It has already been upfitted, the chassis. I mean, yeah, the base has been purchased, so they're just going through the upfit process on that. So within 4 to 5 months, we'll have that. And then going back to Director Wagner, when the price points came in, it looks like there was 135 solicitations.
Okay.
4 tow companies were actually viewed and vetted. Without the 10% discount, it was a $24,000 difference. With the 10% discount, there was a $47,000 difference, not including the 3% discount that we be given if invoices were paid within 30 days.
Okay, so just to follow up to that, you said there were 4 companies that bidded.
Correct.
I know the last one bidded $750,000,
Correct,
722,000.
792,000.
Yes. So, and then the lowest bidder, well, the apparent low bidder was around 420,000 or something like that, I believe.
Well, it was 470,000.
Okay. Okay.
And then the second one was 494,000.
Okay,
And
got
that was prior to the 10% discount.
Okay. So, and again, I'm just trying to crunch the numbers. How does somebody try and ask for $790,000, and then there's a $300,000 difference with the low bidder? There's a $300,000 gap. How do you?
Well, again, you mentioned, Commissioner, it's a lucrative business. So
I'm asking the whole question.
so vendors will attempt to price gouge, just as we see, fueling companies price gouging.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
Sure. Commissioner Peterson Mayberry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So several questions have already been answered, but I do have a request. When the information is sent around the boilerplate appeal language, can you also send the previous bid that also was a IFB? Since I'm hearing from my colleagues that this is the first time that they're hearing that. So I would like to see if that contract again went out for IFB initially. And then, so we're saying that we went from one company to 2 companies, now back to 1 company. So the expectation is the volume of work is going to decrease because there was a need for 2 companies. And I know you said it's very difficult to manage. What we will receive as commissioners are potential complaints when the service is not timely. And so what does that look like as we follow through with our constituents if this contract goes forward?
Yes, so through the chair, Commissioner, as mentioned, for the past 3 years, both vendors have done a phenomenal job. They've responded in a timely manner. They have contractual obligations as well. And I will state, since I've been in the division, I always vet our vendors. How are they doing? I talk to our supervisors. I look for opportunities if it's the county executive always states that this is the new Wayne County. We are getting new equipment that we haven't had in years. So we are taking this from a personal standpoint that we want to make sure that our equipment is being towed by responsive, reliable vendors, because it is new equipment. So we want to make sure that we maintain those standards. But more importantly, like I said, for the last 3 years, they both have been great.
One last comment. So I guess that's still why I'm confused as going to 1 if they both were great and we were providing great service. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. I just have a couple questions as well. Was there any significant changes from this last contract to this contract as far as anything? were there big changes that happened, asking for extended responsibilities, anything like that? Or were the contracts pretty much the same
Through the
3
chair.
years ago to now? This one?
I'll have to go back and validate this, but I believe that the pricing sheet and the specs that were provided as minimum qualifications were consistent.
Okay. Would you just look at that, Aaron, when you have a chance?
Yep.
And I think Commissioner Peterson Mayberry would like to see,
Yep.
I mean, that was part of some of the stuff she wanted to see. Then we talked about getting this retroactive contract from October to January for the 21,000. What has happened since January to now? What kind of bills have incurred? And that's just with J&T towing, right?
Through the chair to this honorable body, it's a combination of both, but it is more services provided to J&T during that term.
So what kind of outstanding bills when we had no contract in there?
We would have to get that information back to you. It has been requested and submitted.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to know that. And when are we going to get that retroactive contract? We have the one, right? And so we need another one, another contract, right?
Through the chair to this honorable body. So just for clarification purposes, both vendors were given a contract for a term from October 22 to October 25. And then both contracts expired in October of 25. The commission approved an extension for J&T from October to January 31. So that was already approved. I believe it was $17,000.
Okay.
We received yesterday the extension for Gouch from October to January, and that I believe is for $21,000.
That's correct.
And so that is on our floor, and staff is looking at it to process their extension that ended January 1 for 21,000 something. And then this contract, which is supposed to begin February 1, I believe the department told us that they expended so far $27,000, and she's coming with the number.
$27,587.55.
So that is the amount that's been incurred prior to approval of the existing current contract that's before you right now.
Okay, so those are invoices, or is that okay? I'm looking at Michelle. She's not.
Go ahead.
Those are invoices that haven't been paid yet.
Yes.
Hi, Michelle Yancey, DPS admin. Yes, those are invoices that we've occurred during this retroactive contract.
Okay.
So from the time the contract is supposed to start on
February 1.
Yes, February 1st till now, we've incurred $27,000 worth
Okay.
of invoices.
All right, that's what I want to know. So we
That
did
have not been paid.
that have not been
Won't
paid
be paid until this contract.
until the
is signed.
contract.
Yes.
Okay. But we did approve that extension for the 17,000.
Yes.
Back in the okay. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. I don't know how much they actually.
No, I mean,
I know.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes.
Before you, please, I'm getting something. But let me say this, look, what's the problem with getting contracts to us in a timely fashion and this retro and basically continuing after the expiration, spending money? I'm just saying that's just a bad little, that's horrible as far as when you talk about having oversight responsibility. And so what do we have to do? We have to vote a contract down, or what is it that we have to do to stress the point that do not spend a dime without the commission's approval, and get them to us in a timely fashion. So what in your opinion, from the administration standpoint, what do we have to do to get you all to stop doing that?
Through the chair, I do know that retroactive contracts have been historically a big push with the administration to get those to end. They, right around the COVID time, really, I think it was up to like 87 or 88 contracts that were coming through that were retroactive. We are really pushing to make sure that those things are done. It's just the amount of time it takes in most instances for contracts to get through the system, which we are in the process of moving off of TCM to have everything in Oracle. So one system, one process. We're looking at the way that the review rounds and things are done to really consolidate and make it a much more efficient platform this next iteration. So long story short is, we as an administration own the retroactivity. It's 100% on our end. We are trying to make advances to make sure that those don't happen again. Now that I'm back in seat from a procurement perspective, working with the departments to schedule out our solicitations earlier so they allow for the contracting process to happen, and just trying to be more efficient with
Okay,
it.
so spending money without authorization, I
Mhm.
think that's an ordinance that will
Yep.
put sanctions in place that
Mhm.
say that if anyone authorizes the expenditure of county dollars, that
Mhm.
there is a direct sanction that will be put in place. So I'll just have that conversation because this here, I'm just hearing it's
Mhm.
just part of the normal course. And we, like you said, going back to the former commissioner, he's been talking about retro, but no one seems to be stopping it. So I think I'm request to just have a conversation, discussion on some sanctions of anyone expending county dollars without authorizations in any instance.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else? Commissioner Baydun.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the interest of our discussion here, for those who are watching us on Zoom or will be watching this meeting later, I'd like to go back to the contract. The amount is 1 million, and you said it's as needed basis, correct?
Yes.
Is it possible that we could exceed the $1 million? Let's say we require more towings than the amount of $1 million?
Through the chair to this honorable body, Commissioner Baydun, I would say the likelihood of exceeding that is very minimal, considering the last few years, we haven't had that need. Now, again, we do have that second paving crew that we haven't dealt with before. We've always used one paving team.
And it's very likely that the amount may not reach 1 million during the term of this contract, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'd like to go to our council and see if she has anything else to add.
So I'll just follow up to what Commissioner Baydun's last question. Commissioner, if they needed more than $1 million, they would have to come back to this body for approval. So they cannot spend beyond, theoretically, they shouldn't spend beyond the $1 million. With regards to the retroactivity, just as a reminder, with regards to these particular modifications, the former purchasing director wanted to, if you recall, they thought that they were going to issue those without coming back to the commission at all. And when I found out, we had to have a conversation that they couldn't just go issue $21,000 off of a contract that was ongoing and pay the remaining invoices. So there was a process and procedure misunderstanding by the department, which I'm sure has been rectified now that, or will be now that Aaron is back. But that was part of the reason why, like, for example, the one amendment was so delayed, because they thought that they were going to pay it internally without even coming back here at all. So we had to address that with them. And that's why you have those amendments, and that's been in there. The other piece I would say is that while there has been some discussion regarding like the splitting of the contract and the timing of when you decide to split and not split, and while that information is included in the solicitation documents and everyone was aware, I will just add that if that is a problem or concern for you, you have a procurement ordinance that you control, that you can put some different parameters in to change future solicitations, potentially the process in general, even though it's in the documents now. If that's not something you appreciate, we can have those discussions regarding changing the ordinance to change whatever process, whether it's the credits, and if you know they have they're on file with the credits, that maybe the county should check instead of just saying no. I mean, all of those things, if you want to change that, we can have that conversation regarding process and making sure your ordinance reflects the process you would like it to be moving forward. Even though that stuff, as Aaron has stated, is in the current documents and everyone was aware with regards to this current solicitation.
Thank you for that. And I see a lot of heads nodding, so I think there would be an interest in looking at the procurement information and seeing from, going forward from here.
Madam Chair,
No, I'm not going to make a motion, but if you're going to make a motion,
Yes.
whatever.
move approval.
Support.
All right. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In summary, as I try to get my mind around all of this and grasp it, it is great to hear that both companies performed excellently over the last 3.5 years. One company that was the low bidder that put an additional sweetener in there wouldn't have been recommended if they weren't the low bidder. Is that accurate? I mean, sweeteners don't kick in. I mean, it's great. Our job is to make sure we get the best deal for our taxpayers. So you make the recommendation. Somebody else could have, of the other 3 bidders, could have put in a sweetener, but if they're not the low bid, you're not getting to the sweetener part. So it benefits the taxpayers if that extra discount is enacted. So it took me a minute to try to get all of this through my mind and what we're doing, but it appears to me that this decision will reflect what everyone trying to get to the best deal for our taxpayers. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Anyone else?
And I just want to say something, Madam Chair, just because I'm going to be supporting this motion to move this to full board, and I'm going to support this contract. This does not reflect in any way badly on the other company because they've been around for a long time, and they've done a lot of business with Wayne County. And to my colleague Commissioner Palomera's point here, we're looking at saving the taxpayer as much money as we can, and I'm following the recommendation of the procurement here, of the administration to go with this contract, and we're going to see how it goes for the next 3 years. Things could change in the future, and that's just my position. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Kinlaw.
Madam Chair, just want to be clear, those additional options, 1-year options, they're not automatically approved. They have to be brought back to this commission for approval. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Commissioner Clemente.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to thank everyone for bringing all of this out. We're very transparent that we know what has happened, what's going on. It makes more sense to me. I had a lot of holes, and like Commissioner Bidun said, both companies are good companies and they've been doing good work. And I hope that in the future we can set up some different ways to go about this. And was there a couple things that we wanted before full board? So can we make the motion contingent on that? Did you make the motion?
Oh, yes, it's contingent upon that.
Thank you. Yeah, why don't we spell that out right now?
The boilerplate language, so we can set our eyes on the boilerplate language associated with the protest appeal process. That is part of the solicitation package overall. And
the previous contract being an IFB and the previous terms of the previous contract.
Get that to you now. It was IFB.
I'll send.
So we want that to set our eyes on it, right?
Yeah. Okay, so with those two, was there anything else? I don't think that was. Okay, with those two provisions added to the resolution to approve. Okay, and I agree, and I want to thank all my colleagues, like 5 or 6 that asked that this be sent, more than in this room, be sent back for questions. Like Commissioner Clemente said, we want to be completely transparent with this. And so I appreciate the fact that people voted to bring this back to this committee, which doesn't happen very often. So, and in this CAPS committee, it rarely happens. I don't even remember when it did. So I appreciate the commissioners that did this, because I think everybody feels a little bit better today than they did a couple weeks ago. All right. Anything else? All right.
It's not part of what I put in there.
Yeah, thank you.
And
Thank you.
and it's in there. I read it.
Okay. Yeah, it's in there. Yes. Yes.
5.3.2.
So you
Yeah.
can add that to it then, as a member of the committee.
All right, I'm aware of that
So,
as well.
yeah.
Thank you, Chris. All right. Is this all clear, Madam Clerk?
Yes.
Okay. All right, you want to call the roll, please?
Commissioner Kenlock,
Yes.
Commissioner Clemente,
Yes.
Commissioner Baydun,
Yes.
Commissioner Palomero,
Yes.
Chair Markey.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, thank you. Next item.
F, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
Yeah, I know of none. Next item.
G, public comments.
All right, do we have any emails?
No emails received.
Okay, how about anybody on Zoom or the phone that would like to address the Committee on Public Services? You have 2 minutes. You see anybody on Zoom?
No one on Zoom.
And if someone, oh yeah, I'm not here yet. Hold on. Yeah, okay, anybody on the phone that would like to address the Committee on Public Services? Okay, now, anybody in the room that would like to address the committee, please come up. And you can sit at the table because the podium is not working. And
2
you just have
minutes.
to hit the button where the green light will come on.
2 minutes.
2 minutes, yep.
Okay, good
Thank you.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Mike Gotch from Gotch and Sons Towing. A couple of things I wanted to hit on after listening to everything. There was no info on the bid, on BidNet, on how to protest it. So we didn't even know anything about how to protest it. The next thing is, we were never formally notified when the bid was awarded. So even if we did know you could protest it, we couldn't find out anything after we called dozens of times. We emailed, we put freedom of information requests in, and we're given back at one freedom of information request wanted us to spend $220 million to get the information, and then we pared it down. We were given another estimate of, I think it was $110 million, and then we pared it down, and it was like $80 million. And I mean, we hired an attorney to try to get information like what has happened with this bid, because we couldn't find out anything. We emailed S. Jackson, the buyer, about this. So when they say you couldn't find any emails, go try S. Jackson. That's who we emailed, the buyer. We called numerous times, and Gosh and Sons is cheaper on 8 of the 12 services. And this is a towing bid. We are cheaper on 8 of the 12 services. And all of that is the services that are actually used. We're not cheaper on on-site repairs, which we've never done, but we bid 67. I think they bid, I don't know what they bid, but, and we're not cheaper on dropping axles, which the bid says 900. We did 72 last year. So when you mention apparent low bidder, you're hidden on it, because if you remove the 900 axles and you go down to a relevant number of, like, last year we did 72 or 73 within there, that's a big cry, and that's your big difference. But as far as, like, they touched on moving the pavers, we're cheaper on that by a far cry. Rate per hour hauling county equipment on low boy trailers, we're 110. They're 150. So even if you get a 10% discount, it's still a savings. And we're cheaper on all the other categories, and like the rate per, let's say, the mileage. Sorry, this is very small. The tow mileage, we charge $4.25. They're charging $20. So even if you get 10% discount, it's no savings. It's semantics playing with these little numbers in these categories. That's not what you're using.
So you probably need $1 million because you're gonna pay more for towing. And I think that's what this is about, moving equipment and towing it and looking for the cheapest price. I have nothing else to add other than we couldn't find out when it was awarded. Nobody will call you back. Nobody will email you back. They even did a great job at blocking freedom of information. I mean, we can't afford 200 million.
And thank you. And we don't go back and forth, but I will tell you this, I am looking into that freedom of information because those numbers were absurd.
Yeah.
So I just want to tell you that and thank you for bringing that forward and also finding out why there was no communication with you. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else in the audience? Two minutes, please.
Sam Hussein on behalf of J&T Crova. Just wanted to say, part of our obligation as vendors is to read all the language in the bid. Everything that was discussed here was inside the bid. For example, we were the low bidder, and the reason we were notified we were the low bidder is this was a public bid opening. Okay, you can see who the low bid was on the day that it was turned in. We turned in sealed bids and it was published online. Everyone knew what price they turned in. So I don't know where we get that we don't know who the winning bidder is. This was an IF invitation to bid and the low bidder won the contract. And it was published online on BidNet and you can verify it. Also, in regards to the 10% discount, when the bid was turned in, Mr. Wagner outlined there is a section for additional incentives. So every bidder, not just Gotch or J&T, had an opportunity to provide additional discount or additional services as well. This has also, I can confirm to you because this is not our first time bidding on this. And for some reason, it only becomes an issue when you lose. Okay, this is the exact same. You can copy and paste the exact same invitation to bid the last 3 times, not just this time or last time, the time before that and the time before that. So you can go back and verify it. I'm providing you facts that you can go back and check. Okay. The other thing is if you were to award it to the second vendor and we're both towing equipment, every time you provided a service call to the second highest bidder, it would cost the taxpayers more money. Every tow would cost the taxpayers more money. So just wanted to make that clear. I'm not here to badmouth anybody. They're a good company, but this was a fair bid. It's the same bid that was out last time. And the things that he's commenting on, he had an opportunity to address those the last time, but he didn't because he was the primary bidder the last time. Even though for price, we were the lowest price. If you look at the last bid, we were the low price. The reason why we weren't provided with the primary bid is because we bid 0 on light duty vehicles and they didn't count it. We actually won. We were first in line last time, but we didn't come out and make comments and complain. We took it on the chin and we continue to provide the best service to Wayne County. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Louis Hussein, JT Crova. I'm the one that works on the pricing and stuff like that. I'm not as polished as everybody else here, but in regards to pricing, I'll keep it real simple. Quantity discount. One vendor, we're getting all the work, we're able to give a quantity discount. That's where the 10% comes from, Mr. Wilson. In regards to how we bid on an axle or how we bid on certain tows, we did our research. We put all those numbers in for the last 3 years, 4 years that we were there working. We seen where we made money, where we lost money, what we needed to adjust, what the quantities were, and we made educated decisions based on that. That shouldn't be a punishment to me. The bid was there and it was done right and it was answered properly. And also I want to give you guys an open invitation to, if you guys want to check out our operations, we have 10 yards now, one of the largest in the state with 120 trucks. We cover almost 75% of the Wayne County highways with the Michigan State Police, and currently work for, I believe, 26 different municipal accounts. So we are trusted everywhere we go. We do a great job, and we have very, very minimal complaints. It's a rough industry. Every now and then your competition's going to get aggressive and you'll hear bad things, but we could assure you, come check out our operation, talk to the vendors we deal with, and you'll be very happy. You'll be happy with the answers they provide you, and you'll be happy. Don't judge my words or what I'm telling you. We'll give you facts and talk to the people we do business with. And we've already provided all that in our bid. I believe 26 reference letters. So, but thank you. And Mr. Wilson, we're also in your district. Our headquarters is in Romulus. I have lots in Van Buren, Dearborn Heights, Belleville. So we're all there. We'd love to get an opportunity to meet you also.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Commission.
Thank you, sir.
And we will not disappoint you. Thank you.
Thank you, Louis.
Anybody else? Okay, next item.
Adjournment.
So moved.
All right, we have an approval, support. Okay, we are now adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, yeah.